So, yes, that was the first experience in treating bugs, okay, Mr. Pesticide. Um, my advice is crawl underneath the house before you buy it. Make sure you know what's under the house because that's where the most surprises can be. One of those houses you saw in there, I think I pulled it out, where you saw where I went through the house and every room, after you pulled the floor up, the floor joist dissolved basically because what was holding the floor together was the floor and not the joist. And so you saw where I had nothing left but studs going up and roof trusses. And everything else we pulled out. We pulled the floor out. Termites love oak more than pine. They will eat oak. They'll come there and they will just, that's like party time. Wood borers love oak. And they can, their eggs can lie dormant for up to 30 years. And then all of a sudden one day you're pounding on the floor and they wake up. And they proceed to eat like nobody's business. They've been sleeping for 30 years. They're hungry little buggers. And they will flat eat through that board all the way to the end and leave you nothing but a shell, about an 1/8 to 1/16 of an inch, 32nd of an inch shell, all the way around the stupid board. And if the one next to it was out of the same tree, they'll go eat that one too. They don't even eat the next one if it's out of the same tree, but for some strange reason, they don't always want to go to the one that's not out of the same tree. They just disappear. I have no idea where they went, but I do know this, they can eat damn near all your, because termites, they don't do that. The wood borers do that. Termites, they come up, they eat it, because it's a stupid fool. Again, I didn't crawl into this house. $18,000, how bad could it be? Well, when he went down underneath the house, put his washer machine connected into his sewer, it didn't work. He hit that cast iron with a hammer and it just broke. Now, being the older, heavier, drinking kind of guy that he was, he managed to get over that trauma and forget about it. Water got pumped underneath there for about 8 years of that washing machine just dumping underneath the house. And when the toilet backed up, of course, that dumped underneath the house. And there's a little grody underneath that house, but it's also wet, which is what termites love, is moisture, because then they can go ahead and have everything, you can eat that wood because it's nice and soft. So they promptly did, and everything, every joist underneath the house, every beam, you saw pictures with it, literally the beams like this are just powder under the house. We literally had propped up the house, and we were near the end of it, and I was still going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm trying to save this thing, but it was easier to save a house than it was to get a permit to build a new one. That's the problem. Again, same thing, condemning the house kind of deal. So, we're at the,
how easy is it to get the house condemned?
we walk down there and tell them I want to condemn the house. And you, as a person next door, you go, I want to have that house condemned. They say, well, we'll go through a process and notify them, give them a chance to do something about it. But if you're the owner, they can't do squat. They got to condemn it. You're requesting to be condemned. Why? Because it's substandard. Piece of trash. I want to condemn. All right, now, I want to fix it up. I want a full permit. I need a minimum standards permit because I'm fixing up a condemned house.
You get that at the same. Did you get that at the same time as you're condemning it, or is it something you have to wait for the process?
You need to check and see if they plugged that hole. But generally, they just soon see something condemned rather than see it dilapidated. So they're on board. Yeah, let's condemn it. We're cool with that. And then the standard is you got to be able to let condemned houses come back online because they're harder. You can't make them meet new standards because obviously you can't tear a wall apart and take a 2-foot center stud and make it 16 inches. Okay, so there's all those variables that come into play. But you just have to check your system to see what they're going to do where you're at. Every town is different. In Austin, if it's under 200 square foot, it doesn't require a permit. Wow, that's portable building status. I can bring it in, hook it up. Just if I don't tell them. I brought in a portable building, I ran a cord over, plugged it in. Plugged into what? Well, I put a 50 amp plug on the back of my house. Oh, cool. How's your water over there? Water hose? What are you doing with the wastewater? What wastewater? I don't even drink it. I come in the house and pee. That's only drinking water. But no, if you put a toilet in there, you got to deal with all that. But no, you can sneak that in relatively easily, or you can go to a number of other things like a low water 1 pint per flush RV commode that flushes into a 10-gallon portable black water tank. And when it gets full, you just disconnect it, go over there and empty it. Especially you're not connected up, you can dodge. So loophole. Some towns like New Braunfels have portable building code. Seguin has portable building code. So you don't know what the status is going to be. Biggest problem with code, um, them trying to impose new standards. For example, you buy a house, I go to fix the front door. Door's been kicked in. I want to replace the door. Inspector sees I'm replacing the door. Wait a minute. You can't put that 32-inch identical replacement door in there. The period, match. A, doesn't have safety glass. B, it's inch and 5/8, not inch and 3/4. C, your jamb isn't up to code. Oh, and by the way, it's not a 36-inch door. excuse me. I'm not handicapped. Don't need a 36-inch door. Thank you very much. I don't want a handicap. No, code. Give me code. One of the entrances has to be 36 inches. But wait a minute. If I do that, I got to take out my light switches. I got to move all my light switches over because they're in windows over. I mean, how am I going to do that? It's not my problem. This is code. Make that a 36-inch hole.
But the state building code that everyone in here
City adopts National Building Code generally. Okay? Now they can create a variant. For example, I cannot build a tiny Texas house in the city of Austin because I cannot use salvaged lumber as structural members.
What? Really?
Yeah. See, and yes, this is, well, no, it's not surprising when you think about this. We live in a corporatocracy. Corporatocracy is what? Weyerhaeuser, Home Depot, Temple Inland. Okay, let's say in the 1960s, we were all no children, some of us weren't born yet. You have an industry that's going, wow, we've almost got this. We've almost got some nice, control here, except for one problem. People build with this damn salvage wood everywhere. We've been doing this for the last couple hundred years. How are we going to stop this? This is money in our pocket that we're not getting. We need a national building code. We need a national building code. Make sure that some of you don't use standard material. We have to set a standard. What am I doing? I'm setting a 99% pure salvage standard with what I do. That's my standard, 99% pure salvage. So they didn't do that. Anyway, wait a minute. Our standard is going to be that we use new lumber to build with. New lumber we know to be better than old lumber, correct? Yeah. So what they did was basically pass national code. Now, for example, I'll give you a couple quick examples. We're going to take a break. One good example is, now I have to use new lumber to build with. Salvage industry up until the 1950s was a booming industry in this country. We built houses out of salvage lumber all the time. I tear them down all the time. I know we did. And they were built out of salvage lumber that was salvaged twice. Because you can tell by the colors on it that it was put up and then it was salvaged again, okay? Wow, one fell swoop. How does the city of Gonzales create its code? Well, we ain't got enough brains in this town to put together a code, except the code of keep outsiders out and insiders in. Otherwise, they adopt national code. Everybody does. Or they adopt international code. Or in the old days, Southern Building Code or whatever. Now they've got it down to we control everybody with one code, International Building Code, instead of having multiple codes where you can dodge industry standards that we want you to have. For example, we had R19 insulation in the walls for a long time. The standard was R19. Owens Corning created R23 insulation. Anybody want to guess what the new standard of insulation in the wall is today? Yep. Coincidentally, it's R23. Not R22. Why? Why am I required to use double pane insulated glass? It's guaranteed to go bad every 12 years. 10-year warranty. 12-year payback. Right, 12 years before you get your money back on the extra cost of using a double pane insulated glass with krypton or argon gas in it, wrapped in vinyl, oil-based product. And not cheap to make glass, by the way. It takes a few thousand calories of heat to be able to even think about melting glass, let alone to go ahead and make it every 12 years and put it in. And, oh, by the way, we got to put a guy in a car and come out there and tear your house apart because we got to replace the whole thing because the vinyl wrapper around has also gone bad. It dries up. And while it was outgassing into your house, it was producing hormone-mimicking chemicals that was disturbing your child and your health, by the way. But we're going to put some new stuff in now that's all outgassed so that you got some new ones in your house now. And charge you an arm and leg. Why are they requiring me to do that? Is it for my own benefit? Oh, we're saving energy. I keep asking that question. How is it saving me energy not to use that glass that was hand blown 120 years ago in that wood frame that is 300 years old growth tree in a 100-year-old frame still holding up? How am I saving energy, making new vinyl out of chemicals that are toxic, and creating a toxified world, and heat that's heating up the planet to make glass? And how am I saving any heat and energy at all? Well, fortunately, there's people out now that are actually proving that it isn't saving energy, that it is actually makes more sense to use all windows, and there is a force out there standing up to the corporations. But as long as corporations have more money and they pay for the lobbyists, and the laws are made by the top, then the only way this can change is from the bottom. So I'm an advocate for local change. What do? We have a variance in national code. I can now build with single pane windows. I have a variance. I can now build with salvage lumber. Now my children go out here and tear down a house, and they got a job. Why? Because we can now have our local resources, not Lowe's and Home Depot shipping our money out of town. And I can recycle that into this house over here and rebuild this house with local resources that were bartered or exchanged without federal tax being sent off at 30 cents on the dollar for labor for paying somebody to do something that I can barter with them to do instead. So,
Would you like go to the city council and kind of like
variances,
change?
absolutely, what you
Yeah.
start doing, and that's what the argument I'm getting ready to present. And that's why Tiny Texas was the seed planted to create pure salvage living, the movement, the Renaissance of thinking in terms of salvage. I was going to call it a movement. It's not. It's the Renaissance. It's something we did for thousands of years all over the rest of the world. We just don't do it here because we got spoiled. Because we got just terribly spoiled, wasteful. So now the tiny house is my argument is going to be, and if you're the politician, stand in my way, please. All American grown trees. All American mined ore a century ago that was smelted and turned into hardware by our forefathers, whom we should respect their work because they built something that's going to last for 350 years. They expected us to do that. And if our forefathers were here and saw you throw away that perfectly good piece of hardware into the dump or send it to China to build tanks out of, they would tell you you're an absolute idiot. And they would probably take it away from you, kick your ass down the road, and say, go someplace where they're going to appreciate idiots. Because right here, we save everything we got. I earned it with my hard-earned hours, you know, and I saw what it was like to not have it. I ain't letting nothing go to waste. We lost that. Now, the resources of all you that are under 45, they're going to be supporting the 76 million of us. There's only 20 million of you, by the way, under 45. The 76 million of us are about to retire. Most of us are not in the condition that I'm in at my age, that I'm going to be able to maybe walk around and talk for the next 20 years and not have a problem. Some of them are going to basically, expect you to take care of their diabetes, take care of their heart problems, take care of their house that's 3,000 square foot so they keep their cable going and their TV going and to keep that cell phone going. And oh, by the way, we need a whole lot, kids. So, by the way, the jobs, they're overseas. So, keep coming back every 2 years so we can keep taxing you. Don't leave for more than 2 years. Don't. And you'll notice this is happening. I want to tell everybody this in case you're not aware of it, but more Americans are leaving this country than there are Mexicans coming to this country at this time. So there is an illusion. Just in case anybody has this illusion that the Mexicans are a problem or any other person coming to this country is a problem. It is not a problem. The problem is we have people leaving this country so they don't have to pay taxes. They get out of all the different debt that they're going to have to suffer if they stay in this country because they can't survive as elderly with the medical bills and the cost of being in this country anymore. And the kids are going too. I've had 6 kids that were working for me that moved to Mexico because they can have a baby for $1,000 at home without chemicals and drugs instead of 10, 20, 30,000 in the hospital and have your child full of plastics before he leaves when they stick intravenous. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. I'll get off my soapbox and we'll come back and talk about other subjects. But there are some serious things that are coming into play. My argument ultimately, what I was going to say is that any politician that wants to stand up against me emptying the landfills of the 51% of the building materials and turning them into houses, of me creating jobs in America for Americans or people who are living here as far as I'm concerned, or where you're from, if you're here and you're working, you deserve to be paid, you deserve to be able to live a good life. I don't know of a single person here who's Indian, 100%, and if you are, chances are you're not doing real well because we didn't treat them very good, and they are the Americans. The rest of us are foreigners who settled here and took advantage of those poor people. Or dragged some other people over and do the work, okay? And took advantage of those people. But my point being is this, it's very simple, and that's that anybody can do this. Anybody can go out there and get these houses and take them down where somebody thinks it's a piece of trash. You decided it's trash, take it down and turn it into something we can use. And that's what my whole thing is. After doing this for years, I figured out I can take this down, build 2 extremely energy efficient houses that are portable for the rest of the time and retain their value because it's not sitting back here in the middle of nowhere in a bad neighborhood where it has no value. I can pick it up and take it with me and I can put it into a trust so that IRS can't touch it, so that my medical bills will never take my home from me, so that I can pass it to my children who will be the beneficiaries, and the IRS can't take it because it's in a trust passed to them. I can do that. It can be portable, so that when I die, my child who does not want to live in this elderly village that I'm living in can move it over to the musician's village over there and live in it until they decide they're going to be a painter and move it into the artist village. And if they don't want to live in it, they can take the $300 income stream off of it as a beneficiary of the trust, and somebody else can live in it and be taking care of the garden or whatever the function of the parent who might have been living in that to the day they die. I don't want to be in a big white cubicle with Uncle Sam and Nurse Ratched taking care of me when I get old. I want to be in a village with my tiny little house and have somebody just kind of bump me back in the right direction at the end of the day. So I end up in there sleeping until morning. When I wake up and wander around like I do, like an idiot, I don't care. Just take care of me, make sure I don't wander off into the street, and I'm good, you know? But I have friends to do that then. I have a village. I have an acre of land, you know, the fenced area where I can be put in every day. That's the kind of thing I want, you know? Don't put me in a cubicle. And don't take away the pictures. So when I come back and I go, hey, where am I? What happened? You know, I feel so sorry for those people. So we can take care of ourselves. We can take care of our family, our like-minded friends. And we can do this out of trash. We can do this out of 99% pure salvage. We can do this out of no imports, no toxins. So, with that, we take our break.